Okay, so let's try this again. In section 10.2, how to use a chi-square distribution to test if two variables are independent is our goal. We're going to look at something called a contingency table. You've already done these before, but it could be something as simple as I have a BS or an MS degree, and then we record if you're male or female or something like that. Or maybe it's age groups. But we just didn't call them contingency table. We're going to do a chi-square test for independence between two variables. Our two variables in this table are the way you like to eat ice cream and your gender. So are those two variables independent of each other? And the calculations for this are measurable. So you can flip through the slides and see, but I'd like to just show you how to set this up in StatCrunch. So I already have this table transferred over into StatCrunch, and I'd like for you to pay attention to what I did. First of all, row 1, if I can get this to highlight, row 1 has all the different ways to eat ice cream. And then column 1 has the two genders, okay? So I left this first one blank on purpose. When you go into the StatCrunch, you're going to have to click on Stat, go to Tables, go to Contingency Table with Summary, and here it wants you to select the columns you want to investigate. We want to investigate column 2 through 6, so I select them all by clicking on the Shift, and then the row labels are in column 1. So column 1 tells you the gender, and then columns 2 through 6 tell you the types of ways to eat ice cream. At this point, you just need to click Compute. Everything else that you need it to do is already highlighted for you. When you click Compute, you get a table back like this. The table tells me all the values from my table, what chi-squared was worth, the degrees of freedom, and what the p-value is. Now, there is an option to get it to give you the expected values. So when you set up this and click expected count, it would then create a table and in parentheses tell you what the expected values were, and it does all the calculations for you. So this is my suggestion. Don't try to do any of these calculations in 10.2 by yourself. Use StatCrunch. So I'm going to go through the steps one more time. I went to Stat, into Tables, Contingency Table with Summary. Choose columns 2 through 6 because that's where the variables for the ice cream were. Then the row labels are found in column 1. Then click expected count, tell it to compute, and then you have a table that has the expected and observed. It has your degrees of freedom, your value for chi-squared, and your p-value. That should be more than enough to answer the questions in the homework and stat lab. Now, the one thing that was not mentioned is that degrees of freedom are found by doing the number of rows minus 1 times the number of columns minus 1. So we had 2 rows minus 1, and we had 5 columns minus 1. So that's where we got the degrees of freedom of 4. Okay, thanks.